Welcome to Unemployed and Afraid, a podcast that explores the glorious mess of building your own business with the people doing it. I'm your host and fellow business builder, Kim Curtin. Thank you for being here. Let's get into some good, honest, small business chat. Hello, listener. I am glad you're here because I am about to drop some LinkedIn topic goodness for you. And I'm doing so because since dropping the episode I did on Monday with Joe, I will make sure to link that for you in the show notes if you haven't heard it yet. But if you didn't hear, he is running a very cool LinkedIn ghostwriting business and had quite the journey to get himself confidently working in that manner and being in business for himself. But since dropping that episode, the DMs and the comments and the interest in our LinkedIn chat compelled me to share a little bit more with you about my own experience and approach to LinkedIn, what's been working for me, why I like it, how it's grown my offering and my opportunity, and plus a couple of watch outs about the platform if you're interested in knowing a little bit more. I do feel compelled to flag with you that this isn't actually a sponsored episode, for which I have zero issues with sponsored content and love great brand partnered content when it's relevant for the audience. So trust me, there will be more of that for you and I'll tell you about it when I'm doing it, and it will be just as great as this. But I wanted to tell you that so it's clear that this advice is actually my personal experience and not that of a vetted expert, but I expect that it will be very helpful all the same. I was drawn back to LinkedIn around the same time I started this podcast. So at the time of recording this for you, that's over 2 years ago. Oh my God, it's almost 2.5 years ago. That's wild. But it didn't take me very long to fall in love with LinkedIn. When I came back to it, I already had a small network of people on my profile that I had worked with over the years that were in kind of the industry of radio that I was in there and like industries, people like marketers and that sort of area that I had been working with over the time. But it was a small network and it felt more like a CV when I came back to it. I wasn't using it for like active networking or active selling or anything like that. So it felt a bit shallow to me at first, not shallow in terms of like egoic, but shallow in terms of like, are these people going to be like interested in what I'm doing? How do I re-engage here? Like who's in here? Like what am I doing? But once I spent a bit of time on the platform, I really fell in love with something quite simple. It's just that combination of learning and connecting on the professional things that I'm passionate about. As a business owner, you can't help but feel like you want to fuel that fire of learning and interacting with passionate, smart people, like having conversations about professional interests in business and all of those things. And I definitely got that from it pretty quickly. And it also felt like a better way to spend some of my scroll hole time because I could see that there was value and potential there. And it has absolutely resulted in financial upsides. Like not everything has to have a means to an end financially, but it's absolutely had that. I've connected with brands wanting my strategic support to create podcasts. I've secured great PR. I found guests for this show. I found speaking gigs, loads. But more importantly, I've actually been able to establish a thriving little network and community of industry professionals and people from all fields relevant to what I'm doing who can actually get a real sense of who I am, what I know, and how I work in a way that I don't think is possible on any other platform and any other network. And yes, there are rubbish posts on there, 100%. And there are a lot of wankers on there too, and a lot of just straight out rubbish. But it's just like there are on every platform. Even when you engage with news sites, you'll see things on there that you're like, that was absolute garbage. But the quality outweighs this. And you have to trust me on that a little bit. And you have to open your mind to it a little bit because you do get out what you put in. And if you're consciously sort of crafting your network and those you follow and the content that you engage with, you do get out of it what you put in. So I said this was going to be a quick fire episode. So let me try and do that for you. Here is what I have learned about LinkedIn since re-engaging with the platform. First one is you do not have to post every day, not even close. Like, believe me when I say I completely resonate with the, for fuck's sake, Kim, please don't make me use another social media platform. My brain and schedule can't take it. Feeling and reaction that ensues when there's another platform on your radar that you suspect that you should be paying attention to, which is why me saying that should actually be a bit of a relief. You truly do not have to be always on posting every day and stories and all those things. Stories don't even exist on the platform, but you don't have to be posting every day to get traction on LinkedIn. But also, it's not actually about creating large traction and large followings. Yes, there are people who have massive followings, and it most certainly helps their business and their profile a lot. But that shouldn't be your goal going into it. And people with much smaller platforms are creating profound impact with their community and their network, and that impact is having result back to their business. It's a place for increasing your personal brand through the sharing of your unique knowledge and insights. That's definitely how I feel about it. And it's not just about promoting yourself. And with it, through sharing your unique knowledge and insights, you're increasing the profile of your company. Just a couple of solid posts each week sharing your knowledge and insights will get you out there a lot more often than none at all, and will have really profound impact. And I'm really going to bang on about this, like knowledge sharing and insight sharing, a little bit, because that is the value of the platform. And then all you need to do is find other relevant posts from other people in your area of business and knowledge and insight and interest, and comment on them. Comment on them with meaningful and insightful additions. This is where your engagement comes from, and it will get you into your feeds, and it will get you into feeds beyond your own network, which in turn increases your network. It shows your value and your thinking, and you might even make a new connection out of it. So you only need to post a couple of times a week to get you started, to find your feet. And then maybe on other days or just occasionally jump in, find some posts that interest you, that you learn something from, that you can add value to, and go ahead and add that value. Number 2, your reach and your impact extends well beyond whoever likes and comments on it. Please do not get stuck in a trap of reviewing your reach and your likes and your comments and your shares. It's honestly quite irrelevant for this platform. Yes, of course, massive impact and reach, and you will see viral posts on LinkedIn as well, but it really doesn't matter. It matters so much less than other platforms. Engaging conversation in the comments of your posts is a goal. Yes. And of course, reach is always a hopeful goal, but it won't happen for every post. And no one really cares if your post only gets a few likes. People are busy, and if it interests them, it interests them. You should be using LinkedIn, and I've been using LinkedIn for sharing ideas and thoughts and building on them. Sometimes things that come from this show, sometimes things that are just relevant to my area of business and podcasting. The engagement will come. And I cannot tell you how many people have said to me when I meet them in a conversation, like in a meeting online, or I see them at an event, that or if they're just a friend, and say, I love what you're sharing and doing on LinkedIn. But I don't reckon any of them who have said that to me have ever actually dropped a comment, or really even a like, legitimately. So you are making impact well beyond who's showing you that they're impacted by it. Also, can I add, it's really not weird to message someone and invite them for a virtual meeting, or a virtual cuppa, as I tend to frame it, to discuss ways you might collaborate. It's not weird. And if you feel like you have something in common with someone, or a way to work together, it's valuable. That's where the value comes from. If you really feel that, it's definitely not weird. Yes, there are a lot of salespeople with annoying DMs floating around doing the hard sell, so don't be that person. But if it's genuine and you've engaged meaningfully in a few of their posts, and you keep it chill, and it's like it is actually relevant, and you're not coming across like you do just want to sell, it's worth it. I have had dozens of meetings with people I've met via LinkedIn, and even the ones that don't quote unquote go anywhere are super valuable, especially if you work alone or just in a small group and you feel like that you're not really connecting with your industry at large. The third one is, and this is going to ruffle some feathers, but give your knowledge away for free, and do not always include a call to action. Okay, I said it. A better way maybe to say it is share loudly, sell quietly. And you might disagree. There'll be plenty of people who'll disagree, but I stand by it from my own experience. You don't always have to close with a call to action to engage, with you more, or to subscribe to something that you're doing, or look at this page, or take any action at all. You don't always have to be telling people, comment if this resonates, or I'd love to hear this in the comments. This kind of behavior that we've gotten into doesn't always have to happen. You can kind of feed that into the language a little bit. If you're sharing something you want people to build on, if you're sharing an idea you want people to build on, you don't always have to close with a hard call to action. Sometimes it makes sense, like if you are referring to an article or a podcast episode or an offer, and that's perfectly fine to do so on this platform. But sometimes it's okay to share your knowledge and insights, knowing that it's being received by an audience who could find it really interesting. Sometimes I think about it like an example of, would you end every keynote or panel commentary that you do with, and if you liked this thing I just said, you could subscribe or follow this link? Like, no, I don't know why I did a radio voice then, but I did. But no, and maybe sometimes you will. So just what I'm sharing this to say, you should feel confident to just straight up share some knowledge, provide some value for people, provide some information that could actually help people in your industry or help people who you serve through the work that you do. You have so much value in there and so much knowledge in there, and sharing it comes back in spades. And you can always prefer to keep an eye out for those options to sell quietly, which I love to do through replying to a comment or sending a DM to someone who's engaged, being like, hey, if you did find that valuable, maybe you might like this too. That creates relationship. And yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Share knowledge widely and loudly and sell quietly. A hot tip to add on to that one, post from your personal page more often than your brand page. Like if you have a company page on there, post from your personal profile page more often and then share it from your brand page. Personal profiles are just more engaging for readers. That's just how it is. Next one is be aware of your echo chambers. Now, this is an easy one for me to have gotten into here because my whole world is podcasting. It's my business between this show and my advisory business for brands. So I tend to connect with a lot of podcast industry people and engage with and read a lot of their podcasting relevant content. Now, this is excellent for networking and for learning. But at the end of the day, a lot of these people are not who will ultimately pay me, who will ultimately book me to be their advisor to their branded content or show or network, or who might listen to this show or partner with me as, in any way, shape or form, a speaker, a writer. It's not necessarily always my audience. For that, I need to ensure that I'm connecting with business owners, brand marketers across many industries, trade bodies, government organizations. And for when it comes to this show, potentially finding great partners, it's marketers who might be interested in reaching amazing small business humans to provide them value. So do beware if your feed has become just industry knowledge, because it will do two things. It will keep you in an echo chamber, and it will also make you doubt what you know and what you want to say. So engage with a variety of content and people in different industries of interest. My last point is review your first impression often. Make sure you go and hang out on your own profile page and check it out. What is that first impression? Make sure your profile picture is a professional one that represents how you want to come across professionally. And create a banner, the thing at the top of the page that succinctly explains what you do and who you do it for, again, in an engaging way that's relevant to your tone. Have a look at your bio line. Is it potentially engaging for someone who's looking to work with you? Does it explain what you do and who you do it for? Say it simply, but change it as often as you need to. And make sure you have your profile set to creator mode. What this means, it's a flick of a button, and what it means is that people can follow you and connect with you. They have those two options. Because sometimes a follow is more comfortable for someone kind of well outside of your network, or who's interested but doesn't want to come across to like, hey, connect with me. I mean, I like to connect with people I don't know quite a lot because that's how I get to know people. But sometimes someone might just want to follow you, and that's okay. Obsess a little over your own about section, please. Read it as if somebody has just met you and see how you've described your experience. Does it sell who you are and what you can do? Or have you been a little shy about it? Does it straddle that perfect line between this is what I do and this is who I do it for and this is why, and also just being kind of like fun and kitsch, like, find your right place. Just view yourself how others will, their first impression, and ensure you're happy with it and you've provided information to showcase yourself well. You deserve that. And that includes adding links to your website if relevant. And on that, do pay for premium. Like, I if you can, if it's available to you. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it might be around $50 a month, but that changes. You can get deals. It depends if you're on annual, but trust me, it's worth it. LinkedIn can make you money a lot more effectively than many other platforms out there if it's relevant for you. And it comes with some cool opportunities to send emails to people that you otherwise wouldn't be able to if you didn't have that premium offering. They're called InMails. And if it feels right to reach out to somebody in that way, it gives you that option. And yeah, it can just give you a lot back for the money, even if it's indirect through PR and speaking opportunities, new partnerships with people and companies, or just a positive impact on someone who is making a decision in a room somewhere that you can't see. It is so worth it to invest a little bit of time and energy in this platform in a bit of a different way. I hope my learnings about LinkedIn have been helpful for you. Again, it's always up to you to make your own decision about what platforms are right for you and the way in which you want to engage with it and how much. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to do everything and you have to do it in the right way in order to make it work. You will find your own ways, but hopefully these tips that I've learned that have helped me improve my relationship and my benefit with LinkedIn will help you in some way. Do feel free to reach out if you want to ask me a bit more about my experience in the platform, or if you have any questions about anything that I've shared today, and just get yourself out there. Start promoting your value, your knowledge, your insights. Please, you and your business are so very, very worth it. If you found this episode helpful, please tell me about it. Through a review is ideal, and a DM is great too. This is a fairly silent medium, so it's me talking and no one responding. So when it comes to feedback, I do love it. And remember to please share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. It could support them too. So you'll be doing them and me a really big favor by telling them about it. Thank you for listening to Unemployed and Afraid, the podcast for small business builders with your host, me, Kim Curtin. If you love it, you can say thanks with a star rating and a review. And of course, join the community on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Find us at Unemployed and Afraid wherever you're hanging out, and I'll see you there.